But we're so excited to launch our new podcast. That's spelled PAWdcast. We have so many animal lovers out there and want to be able to share our Muddy Paws organization with you. And now we have a place where we can all come together to learn, visit, and bond about our family pets.
Wonderful.
Woo!
Yes. Yes.
Together, Terri Larson, Isaiah Langworthy, and myself have over 67 years of experience in the animal shelter rescue world and are happy to share our passion for the animal world and the rescue work we do with you.
Awesome. Yes, absolutely. We're excited about this.
We are. I'll tell you. Terri Larson is the owner and founder. Terri, tell us a little bit about yourself, just real quick.
Okay, well, I can tell you about the rescue.
Yep, that's great.
My life is pretty boring. In 2015, I decided to start Muddy Paws Rescue as a result of being with various other rescues and thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we could give back a little bit more to the community? So that in mind, I started Muddy Paws Second Chance Rescue. So not only do we function as the typical rescue, taking pets in and rehoming them, but we also have a lot of programs that we focus on giving back to the community, giving back to the animals in the community and the pet owners who might need support. So we have quite a few. We have 6 different programs, I believe, that actually give back to the community.
And I think that's wonderful because, in a lot of shelters, a lot of rescues, the adoption's done and bam, we never see anybody again.
Right.
Whereas one thing that I really love about the Muddy Paws Rescue in the Council Bluffs, Omaha area, I just want to clarify that because there is another Muddy Paws, but we are out of Council Bluffs, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska area and surrounding areas. But I just wanted to clarify the thing that makes you guys unique is the fact that you guys do have all these extra programs that you offer to people that have adopted from you.
Yes, absolutely.
As well as other pet owners. I mean,
Right.
One of the big things is a pet pantry.
Right.
People are struggling right now.
Absolutely.
We've got a free vaccination clinic once a month, which is
Absolutely.
cool.
Mhm.
So
And we are
remember that.
expanding on that as well.
Yes.
We have some exciting news about that.
Yay, great.
Okay.
All right, well, we will cover that in another
Okay,
episode.
all right.
And another thing that I really think is cool is the fact that you guys offer the training and behavioral stuff after the adoption.
Absolutely.
That is so important because, what people don't understand is, it's all great taking your family in or going to pick out a pet at a rescue at a shelter. You feel good about yourself. Hey, it's great. You get them home and oh my God, there is an adjustment period.
Right,
And
exactly.
people don't recognize that.
Exactly.
It's-
That's why we have Julie here.
Yay!
Julie's going to talk about how to help acclimate a pet into your home and about some of the more frequent questions that we get asked about training.
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely, every pet, every dog or cat that gets adopted through Muddy Paws comes with a lifetime of free behavioral training.
Did you hear that? Dog and
Lifetime
cat.
of
Cat.
free behavioral training, exactly. And not the come sit stay, but actually the problematic behaviors. And that is actually what causes people to rehome their pets. So we are committed for the life of that pet to keep them into that home, and we want to support them as much as possible to make sure that they have a forever home.
Okay, and Julie, I was going to ask, just out of curiosity, what do you think is the biggest question that you get asked when you get calls? Hey, I just adopted this dog. What is the biggest question? The biggest problem that you have?
Why doesn't my dog fit into my family?
Okay, and then how do you handle that?
A lot of things is we want perfection. We want to bring a dog in, we want to love it, we want it to be perfect. Unfortunately, this dog just came from everything it knows, it's lost everything it knows, and it's coming into a new world. We don't start a relationship with being best friends and soulmates forever. We learn to trust. We have to take those baby steps, and for the dog, we need to take those baby steps as well. So one of the things is less is more. I tell anyone that has adopted a dog, we need to teach people how to date the dog. So in my world, dating the dog is if you're giving so much attention to the dog and the dog doesn't know what to do with it, they're going to freak out. They're going to run away. Sometimes they snap. Sometimes they end up biting. So if we give them space, give them a little bit of attention and back away, give them a little bit more attention and back away, intentionally disengaging from them, then the dog can actually start to feel comfortable and then start coming around the humans, which is exactly what the humans want. So we need to give them a little bit of space and teach them that it's okay to disengage. We don't need to be 24/7 in love forever. We just need to give them a little bit more time so that we can adjust to that.
Do you think when somebody brings a new dog home, and they do engage in the 24/7, I got to be with you, do you think that's creating separation anxiety of some kind?
I think it creates a lot of anxiety, period. Whether it's separation anxiety, they just left everything they know. So now this person saved me, whether it's from the shelter, whether it's from the home that they were fostered at for 6 months. I mean, all it is creating anxiety, like, I need you here because as soon as you leave, then everything is going to change. And that's why using things like the crate or having a couple days or bringing something from the house that they were at that we can smell. Is that always possible? No, it's not. But we try to get them to just be able to relax, stop panting, get a good night's sleep, give them interactive food toys so that they can start de-stressing their energy. No different. It's not easy to move, right? We have this new house. We want to be there. We want to be happy, but we have to go through the process of moving and packing and getting everything unpacked. And, it doesn't just magically appear perfect.
Sure. So along with that, how many dogs would you say that you have worked with that you have not been able to acclimate into somebody's home? What happens then? Have there been a lot? Are you successful in doing that?
Yeah, I think I'm fairly successful. At the end of the day, could be a home that it just does not, the dog and the home just aren't a great fit. Why? Because there's different expectations. They don't want to work through the problems to make it a great home and a great fit. So sometimes it's just realistic that something has to change. But 99% of a home, if they follow the directions, if they give them space, if they work through the situational stuff to keep the dog actively engaged and help the dog through the small problematic area, then it's successful.
Well, and that's what we always want to do. We always want to achieve people staying with their dogs and vice versa,
right?
Because that's what we do. That's our mission.
Right.
Yep.
And trust does take time. Trust takes time. So that pet may actually really enjoy you and like you.
Right.
But trust doesn't come overnight. So that has to build up over time. So we just say, give them their space, give them their bubble. Now is not the time to start teaching them how to brush their teeth or try on all sorts of new collars and harnesses or
meet all the family members.
No. So just give them the space. Their world has just been uprooted. It takes at least 3 days just to start de-stressing. Just start. And then up to 3 weeks or 3 months to actually learn the rules of that new home. I mean, there's even things that we aren't aware of. There's noises outside, that they might not be used to. There's different sleep patterns that their owners might have. There's different doors that they have to stand by to go potty. There's different foods possibly, so everything has been changed and they just need a chance to just take a breath and just relax. So you need to give these new pets time.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think, they bring them home and they think, oh my God, we're just going to have the greatest family. But they have been traumatized.
They have.
Whether it's a rescue or a shelter, it doesn't matter. They've been traumatized because they've left the life that they knew. So, even smells or
noises.
Yeah. And I've had a couple of dogs where, it breaks my heart to put them in the car because they wonder, gee, am I coming back to this wonderful place that I,
Right.
And, now they love car rides, but, that's neither here nor there. It was traumatic for them the first couple of times they got in my car to go for, a Starbucks puppuccino. And they were just like, oh my gosh,
Right.
They didn't know they were coming back home to me.
Because there's always been that negative association with car rides.
Right.
Vets, not that is a bad thing, of course, but it is scary. It's different. Or going from one home to another home,
Or being dumped.
A lot of
at the
them
shelter,
have. A lot of them have had numerous placements, and every time they're losing their family and going to a new place, and then they lose their family. So that's pretty typical. As a matter of fact, we had to call Julian one time. Just popped into my head, but there was a transport, and they were stopping in Omaha on their way to take the pet across country for reunifying with a prior owner or something. I can't remember. And this dog was so terrified that it would not get out of the car. They could not get the pet out of the car. So they called us, and we called Julie, and it was just, that dog was just so filled of terror, just didn't know what was happening, didn't know where it was, and it was not going to leave its safety in that car to get out, even to go to the bathroom.
And that's just heartbreaking.
It is very
I
heartbreaking.
mean, because you know that's trauma.
Right.
So,
And we know the end result. We
Sure.
ultimately, but they do not.
Right. And it's hard to, you can have a rescue dog or a shelter dog. I had one for 8 years, and I always ask myself, does he know how much I love him? Does he love me back that much? Because there was always just that look that he would give me once in a while that was like, is she taking me someplace to drop me, or where am I going now?
Right.
And it was, you always try to make it a good experience, and it sometimes he looked at you like, oh my gosh,
Right.
It's like, I'm not going to hurt you. You've been with me for 8 years. I'm not giving up on you now. So, it's hard to instill that in dogs that have been traumatized like that.
It is.
Yeah.
And if you can be patient, take your time with them, that's what they need. And I know a lot of people don't understand that, but whether you get a puppy from a litter or a rescue dog or a shelter dog, it all takes time.
Yep.
And you have to be devoted to it. So that's probably the number one takeaway today. So
Right.
Yep. And put in the time and energy to do the training, because a 6-week class or a 4-week class, it's not the end all be all. It takes time.
Well, it's very much so training yourself and your family, not the dog.
right, you're exactly right.
We train people, not pets.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. I liked your reference earlier when you said dating the dog or the cat.
Yep.
Because it is, and a lot of people don't look at it like that, but it is. I mean, they have to get to know you, you have to get to know them. It's not like a speed date thing where, you can find out in 5 minutes whether you like each other or not. That's what you do the meet and greet for. By the time you get them home, you're already invested.
Right.
So
Right.
Absolutely.
And because you know what you want, but the dog is like, I don't know this. We already have it in our mindset. We think in 3 dimensions, dogs do not. So, but yeah, so I use that date the dog a lot because people don't understand.
Well, we're kind of doing this a little bit backwards, and we apologize, but we wanted to have Julie tell us what you do, what your career is, what how you got started with the animal life, and
I got started with the animal life because I got a dog and I learned how to climb my fence and was running the neighborhood. So it was me or the dog. So so I started volunteering at the shelter and in training, and I went through animal behavioral college, and I started training in different places. I got into rescue, still working with my own dog, and then I started fostering because why not bring a dog in to work with my own dog on a daily basis? So I've been there ever since. So that's how I got started. What do I do? I work generally 6 days a week and helping people behavioral problems. Sometimes they're puppies, sometimes they're not. Just getting them to understand and feel comfortable not having everything for the dog and having all the answers now. It's okay to take time. It's okay to have barriers. It's okay to create space. It's okay to have your dog go to the kennel. Kennels are not bad. Barriers are not bad. It's okay not to, take the dog for a walk the first couple weeks. You can hang out in the backyard, hang out outside. It doesn't have to be a 3-mile walk. So.
And what type of training do you do?
I do basic obedience training, behavioral training.
Or I guess better question, what method do you
Oh,
utilize?
positive reinforcement. And guess what? A lot of people can say that they're positive reinforcement because they use treats. At the end of the day, it's not about treats. It's about the positive impact that your dog is having with the situation. Some people could tap their dog on the head, and you could do that to a fearful dog, and it could create a bite. Treats are great because guess what? Everyone needs to eat to survive. So food's easy. And if you have a high enough value treat and your dog is not eating it, you know that there's a bigger problem, a more fearful problem than just a basic problem. So that's why food is generally the go-to. But
it doesn't have to remain that way, though. I mean, at some point it can be, but
having 5 things that your dogs love. So I use walks, I use card rides, I use scooters for my dogs, and they know that when we go one-on-one, we're going to scooters. Using toys, using treats, sometimes using kibbles, using puzzle toys. Sometimes it's just pets. Sometimes people just want to use pets when dogs are too overwhelmed and pets don't work. So it's finding what your dogs love. You can feed me cheesecake all day and it can sit there and rot because I don't care. So if you're trying to give a dog something that they don't care about, you're not going to get the benefits of the results that you want.
And some people ask, why do I need to reward them? But you always come back with, well, how long would you work without a paycheck? So there has to be some reward. All of us as people,
Makes sense.
yes, all of us as people and animals as well, they need to be there. They need to get that reward somehow, whether it's the paycheck or the petting or the whatever it is.
Yeah, we don't, let's be real, none of us get paid to foster. We do that, we spend our money, we spend the time, we have sleepless nights, we're not doing it to get paid, but it's the reward of saving an animal. So It's not always about a food or a paycheck, but it's some type of reward. And if you find what your dogs love, you can interchange it. I mean, one dog just wanted to go on a car ride. That's it. That's what she wanted. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you actively watch your dog and know what makes him happy and giddy and jumpy, then you know what to reward your dog with. Now, out in public could be totally different than in the house. We need to read situations for situations. We always practice in the house. Less distractions, get some behaviors, build some bonds, and then start adding distractions.
Why don't shock collars work? Because I know they don't work.
Because it's a positive punishment. At the end of the day, if it actually even worked, then we would use it on humans for speeding. Let's be real. But they don't work because all it does is instill a fear of, I'm not going to do this just because I don't want that negative association.
That shock.
Shock for shock collars. A prong, that's why they don't pull. That's the only reason that they work for some people is because they're getting some type of negative association with that. Sometimes people, use spray bottles. Sometimes people kick their dog, use their hand, hit their dog. At the end of the day, we want a dog to feel comfortable. We want the dog to have their personality, but we also want them to listen. I love my dogs. I may not expect what other people expect, but there's things I expect. Unfortunately, every single one of my dogs need to be okay with a new dog coming into my house. Do we work on it? Absolutely. But we make it a positive association so that they don't go, it's another dog. Okay. Great things happen when another dog comes in because you've made that a positive association.
Okay, so a question that I get asked. If a dog is barking or fearful of a stranger, and you have that stranger toss treats, or you as the owner toss treats, are you not rewarding that behavior, that dog's behavior? But the way I explain it is that reaction is a fear-based reaction, and you're not actually rewarding that action, but you are addressing the underlying fear and putting in a positive association, the treats with that particular stressor, and so that stressor becomes less and that behavior goes away. Do you have a better way of explaining that?
I just have a different way of explaining it.
All right.
So if someone's coming in and your dog is scared of that new person coming in, first off, I'm scared to death of snakes. So a snake can be right here and I'm going to scream and run. So that stranger is that snake in my world to that dog. So the first thing we need to do is create space. So people come in and say, here, come to me. I have this treat. Come to me. I'm going to be your friend. So all we're doing is telling our dogs, that especially our dog treat motivated, to come up to me to the scary thing and get food. You can put a $1,000 bill on that snake, and if it stops, I might go to it. But if it starts moving, I'm going to run. So when that dog is right there getting that treat, and then they bite somebody because the treat's gone, and now all they're doing is seeing the scary thing, then that's when people have problems. So what we need to do is create space. We need to teach the dog that it's okay to walk away. We don't need to take it out. It's okay for them to disengage and walk away. So if people come in and they throw treats, play basketball, throw treats to the butt of the dog. If the dog chooses to walk away, then the dog is able to think and start walking away and use its brain for something else instead of seeing the scary thing. It's when they don't that we sometimes need to help them. So we use a leash and walk them away. We need to reward space before we can make the scary thing a good thing. Once they can disengage, once they can walk away, once they can use their mind to go to the food, they're taking that deep breath. They're doing a full body shake off. Then we can say, oh, guess what? When you come through that door, great things happen back there. They start disengaging. And so then you're not so scary because they can take a deep breath. They can walk away. No different than a human being in a scary situation. If you continuously going forward, sometimes you get too scared and you can't. You have that barrier. So you take a step back. So if we teach dogs that they can disengage, that they can walk away, that great things happen back here at a distance, then they, on their own, will start going closer and closer to the scary thing because it's not so scary.
Makes total sense
Yeah,
to me.
it does.
Awesome.
There again, there's another thing where you need to be patient with your pet
Exactly.
while it's meeting all of your friends and family, and so yeah.
And not have high expectations. We need to read the dog. We need to read the language.
Yes.
One other thing that we often get called about is separation anxiety, where the pet is either going potty or chewing things up. How does separation anxiety, first of all, how does it come about? Is it because they go from this home to this home to this home to this home, and they never can really just relax and call it their home? And then if they do create, or if they do get these behaviors, how does a pet owner, which is what oftentimes we are called to take the pet, because the pet owners don't know what to do, and then they go to another home, and then they go to another home or a shelter or wherever they might go. How do you stop this cycle with separation anxiety? What do you do as a pet owner to get your pet to actually not do these destructive behaviors in the home?
First and foremost, we can use COVID as a prime example. Everyone got pets during COVID. They worked from home. They stayed at home. They had all their food delivered, and they're with their pet 24/7. If you're with a human every day, day in and day out for 2 years, and all of a sudden they're gone, you're going to have that separation anxiety as well. Look at breakups. It happens all the time. So the biggest thing is we need to reward our dogs for doing different things. Some people are kennel people, some people are not. I use kennels, I use barriers. Sometimes it's an easy way to practice, but have your dog go in a kennel. Reward them for laying down. Reward them for relaxing. Even though if you're home, go to the bathroom, come back, let them out. If we only make kennels that you have to go there and you're always going to be gone for 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day, then it's a negative association. It's abandonment. So if we start rewarding and utilizing the kennel when we're home, then it's not so scary, right? It doesn't matter if I lay on the couch or lay in the kennel. Doesn't matter if I have a dog bed or if I lay on the kitchen floor. If your dogs can see you and you're, 10 feet away and they're okay, they can be good, okay in the kennel. So you can utilize the kennel for just a little bit of time, a little bit of space. Also, if we don't ever leave our dogs, if we don't ever practice, everyone wants to use wait and stay and just leave their dog. That's unrealistic because we always call our dogs to us. Let your dog sit down, take a step, walk away, come back, reward your dog for just laying there. They need to see us get up and move, not necessarily leave the room, but get up and move so that they feel comfortable. What are you doing? Oh, okay, you're coming back. So if we start working on us moving and us doing different things and rewarding our dogs that it's okay to stay there, then they will get more comfortable and then you can walk out the door and then you can leave. The reason why it takes a good 3 years for a dog to be okay without a kennel is because we practice it all the time. They're getting better. They're not chewing anything at night, so we leave them out at night and then we go to get our coffee and then we come back and we do those baby steps. Unfortunately, dogs that come from rescue or the shelter, they have been moved around and different things and they don't know what's okay. So for every single time that your dog moves is 30 days of getting them to helping them calm down. It's okay, I'm always coming back. So practicing the kennel. Kennel should be a safe place for your dog. If we have a disaster and we can't go somewhere and our dogs need to be safe, the best place for them is in a situation where they can go in a kennel with other dogs there. Florida, when they had to evacuate, there was a place that you could take your dog so they're safe. If your dog ever gets loose and someone picks it up and takes it to the shelter, you want your dog okay in a kennel, because if they're okay, they're not going to display those behaviors. So then they're going to start calming down and then your dog is going to be safer. They're going to be less likely to put down in that situation. So we need to practice these baby steps of us up and us moving and telling our dogs, it's okay. If you follow me, it's okay. But guess what? If you lay right there without me telling you, good job, then they're going to start doing that more often.
So you want to make their kennel a fun place. So maybe
Safe
throw
place.
their fun and safe, throw their toys in there, let them go in and out 100 times a day, pulling out their toys.
Yep. Feed them in there.
Feed them in there. Let them hang out in the kennel when you're watching television. Drop some treats in there. Let them
Yep.
go in, get the treats. Okay.
Even if you just have them in there for 30 minutes while you're watching a show and they're right next to you, just reward them for calming down in the kennel even though you're right there.
So the kennel won't always mean that their
you're
owners are
leaving.
leaving.
Correct. That's abandonment.
Okay, that makes sense.
So can you shut them in there like when you're home watching
Yep.
TV?
I would
Just
do,
to-
I would do it when you're home. I would do it when you're watching TV. Go take a shower, put them in the kennel, let them out. We want
Yeah,
to
just
just
little
create
baby
a
steps.
repetition. You're in there. I'm always coming back. I'm always going to let you out.
Good.
And it's okay to just relax in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions for Julie? Julie is one of our trainers. She actually goes and works with our foster dogs in foster homes. If they are having any difficulties that we want to start working on. She is one of the trainers that works after the adoption to make sure that placement is going to be a good fit and last. She also does private training as well. She does it at a reduced rate, probably cheaper than most any other place in town, because she is dedicated to trying to do what is right for the pets. And sometimes training is so expensive that
Oh, yeah.
you can't get it,
Yeah.
and then you end up having to rehome your pet because you don't know what to do. So our trainers actually have agreed to do training at a reduced rate for the people that need it, actually. And Julie is one of those trainers that's been with us a long time.
Well, give us
Oh,
a
wow.
shout out. Tell
Yeah.
us how to contact
Yeah.
you, how to, if somebody wants to.
I know her number by heart.
I was-
I was gonna say, if somebody wants to contact you about
402.
training. Or,
Yep, you can text me at 402-981-3136.
And-
Texting is best just because I do work 12-hour days, so I just don't want to miss a message.
She trains after she trains.
And you can find all of our trainers' information on the link that's going to be popping up on your screen right now. If you go to that link, their information is all loaded on there. Some of them have websites, some of them have email addresses, all of them have phone numbers. Texting would work best for any of our trainers. The only one I don't think that is listed on there is actually Miss Julie Grady right here. But that is just, like she said, you can text her at that phone number. So I think, that's a big portion of training. I know I've personally shadowed Julie a couple times. I've talked to her on the phone more times than I can count, going, Julie, what do I do? And she's always got a neck or a trick or anything up her sleeve. I mean, she's pulled things out before that I'm just like, how did you even know that? I don't believe you. I'm Googling this right now.
Well, I think it's great how you relate, into our everyday lives. I have horses. So a lot of the stuff, the training that I see in the dogs is very much associated with how you train horses. And it's the similarities when I was taking some classes were just amazing to me because I'm like, oh my gosh.
I actually took a horse training class, even at Best Friends Animal Sanctuary.
Yes, yeah.
Even though I was doing dogs, because it's very
similar.
Very similar.
Yeah, so
You
they're much bigger. You guys.
they're much bigger. Well, I mean, I've had some dogs that are close to their size.
This is true.
But no, and I think everybody except for you at this table either fosters or owns a reactive dog, fearful dog. And I can personally say that watching them go through that training process is single-handedly the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life.
Yep.
Watching a dog go from being, I think of my Lacey, so anxious when I got her, was on just, she was on a ridiculous amount of medication just to help her.
Yep.
And we are a year and a half going on 2 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Of me knowing her in a year and just over a year and a half of her being in my home. And I am beyond ecstatic to be able to brag that she is off all medication.
Oh, good.
Is completely integrated with her fellow. Actually, you don't know this part yet, but she's not only completely integrated with my other resident dogs, but all of my dogs are together now, including my two fosters, specifically my reactive foster.
Nice.
So everybody, just seeing her be able to live. I'll never forget when I brought her home, seeing her play for the first time. Mm-hmm. I called a couple of my friends in tears because I'm just like, this dog who has been so closed off is opening up.
How old do you think she was when you got her?
When I got Lacey, she was 4 years old.
Oh gosh.
She's a mini Australian Shepherd. And the first thing that I learned about her, Miss Terri Larson is asking me to come meet this dog, just to meet a dog. And she goes, but don't touch her.
There's always a trick.
Don't touch her. She doesn't like men. And I went, so bring the guy to meet the dog that doesn't like men. Sounds like a great idea. Little did I know she was just trying to put her in my house. I'm joking. I'm the one that asked for it. But she came in and, I've asked Julie many questions about Lacey. I've asked Terri, some of our other trainers. And I can tell you, as somebody who didn't know what positive reinforcement was before I joined Muddy Paws, you couldn't catch me. I mean, I'll be honest, I used a bark collar. Mm-hmm. And when I learned, I think it was actually you that I talked to after the dog got shocked in front of me at an assessment, I broke mine. And I took a hammer to it and just pounded it into the ground. And I held both my dogs that I had used it on and told them I was so sorry. And I was in tears almost because I was just like, I didn't, we were trained for so long. We didn't know this. We didn't understand dog behavior.
Right.
And so it's never a dig at people. It's always just like in human medicine, we used to think that electroshock therapy was great for people with mental health disorders. Well, found out all it was doing was making them crazier.
Well, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
I mean, so don't be hard on yourself.
No, never.
There's a lot of people that, now I do know there are trainers, breeders that swear by using the collars, and that's, the force training, I believe is what it's called. And that's, if that's what they believe in, that's what they believe in. But I I believe in
it's-
positive
There's
reinforcement.
a better way.
Right,
There's
much
definitely
better.
a better
Yes.
way. And here's the thing, most of the aggression that you see in a pet is fear-based. You cannot fix fear with fear.
Right.
So I can have this snake in front of me, just as Julie can, and no matter how many times
Is there
you
$1,000
shock
on
me,
it?
how many times you shock me, that is not going to fix it. Okay, so if I'm screaming and I'm freaking out because the snake is here and I'm afraid of snakes, so I'm having that reaction, right? That aggressive reaction, and then you come and smack me, that's not going to help.
Right.
That's going to amp me up more, right? But if you come and say, Terri, come on, let's go. It's a snake, let's go. So if you actually show some kindness, understand that, and build that relationship, I am more suited to be able to accept, and rationally think how to react to this snake, right? So think of a dog. A dog is scared of strangers. They're reacting to strangers, and you shock them or do some sort of punishment to them. They're going to associate strangers with
That
hurt and
yeah.
pain and more fear, and it just never works. But if you pair that with some treats, some comfort, some petting, some space, that dog is going to learn to take a deep breath and start not associating fear with the strangers, right? You cannot fix fear with fear. It doesn't work. You can't. So, and most aggression is fear-based. The only other kind that isn't is if that particular pet was taught that way, or not necessarily taught by a human, but also taught by experiences that's how it needed to react. So anyway, that's what we believe as a rescue.
And I
That's
totally
what I
agree.
believe as a person.
Same.
I have 32 years of experience with animals, and I have seen positive reinforcement work where other types do not work. And as a rescue, we take in the animals that a shock collar has not worked. Shock collar has made that pet more aggressive. A bark collar has made that pet more aggressive. I have 2 of them in my home that, and the thing is, when you take those pets in, you actually have to work not only to get them back to square one, but then you have to work to actually address that problem. So when behaviors are created from improper uses of training techniques, it sets you further back.
Oh, sure.
It sets that animal further back, so that you actually have to work to actually get back to the beginning. And then you take it from there. So I, as you could probably tell, am a firm believer in positive reinforcement, relationship-based, because I have seen it with my own old eyes.
And one of the dogs you
many
have,
times.
one of the dogs you've had for 7 years, 8 years?
8 years, yes. And that dog was the most damaged dog I probably ever have had any dealings with. Many nights I sat and literally cried to Julie because that dog was biting me on a regular basis, and I was not going to give up.
Good
This
for you.
dog had been trained to be as mean as possible by a drug dealer who was a woman who eventually went to prison. I don't know exactly the story after that, but I know that this dog was had a lot of things happen to it. It had cigarette burns and that. It had been in a shelter for 6 months, I think because of the court dealings, I'm not sure, but it was in a mesh muzzle, which kept her mouth closed. She was really not walked. She was not let out of her kennel. They called and said, we're going to have to put this dog down if you don't take it. I said, my naive self, I said, oh, absolutely. Took it home, took off the mesh muzzle, and she proceeded to bite me, and then I couldn't get the muzzle back on her, and then we went through, 2 long weeks at least of me basically fearing for my life, but I was not going to give up, and I learned so much about training during those 2 weeks.
That face, the face on Julie said it all. That face was, little did she know.
Hours and hours and hours. And now that dog is absolutely the love of my life. I love that dog, and she will never be fully one that will be able to go up to strangers and be the cuddly.
Yeah.
No, but she is selective. She's making new friends all the time. She is wonderful with her new friends, and
You're selective too.
I am selective. I actually am very selective.
She's we call it dog selectivity in the rescue world, where dogs are selective with other dogs. Terri is human selective.
I am.
As is, I'm pretty sure every single person at this table right now.
There's very few of those humans that I like, but anyway.
I feel like reciprocated.
But now she's the love of my life. I love her so much, and she goes everywhere with me, and
you randomly will pull her out of your car and scare certain people at this table.
You bet.
To the point where they may or may not have messed themselves. We greatly appreciate it.
Does she not like you, Isaiah?
I wouldn't say she doesn't like me. I wouldn't say she likes me. We don't know, because normally there's a car in between us. But there's one day, the 3 of us and one other volunteer at Don and Millie's, and somebody decided that Gemini
She wanted to make a new friend.
needed to go potty.
She needed fed.
And Julie was like, oh yeah, she can meet me. And I'm like, well, Julie can't meet a dog and me not. Like, gosh darn it, Julie. And so I'm standing there with a kennel or a playpen in front of me, holding as still as physically possible. And she sniffs me and she walks away. And my exact words were, I'm never doing that again. I'm going home now. I missed myself. And I got in my car, and a little bit later that night I called her and I go, I wasn't joking, Terri.
Hey, you left with all your limbs. You're
She
fine.
can be scary.
But you know
sometimes,
what? I gotta say, I love her.
Yeah.
Even
I
though
do
I've
too.
never got to
I
touch
love
her,
No.
I've never got to anything, that's okay.
No, that's
Because if
okay.
anything, I get to hear the absolute
Yeah.
hilarious stories of her.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than that. I've never seen a dog that loves to ride in a car more than her.
Oh,
though.
she loves to ride. She loves to ride. Yep.
That is her reward. That's
It
a
is.
perfect example
Yeah,
of
that
a
is-
non-treat motivated
She does.
reward.
Yeah.
She loves it.
You know? And I would even say to the extent of like,
Well, who wouldn't want to ride around in the Cadillac?
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Yeah.
It depends who's driving.
Yep. But anyway, so training is one of our programs.
Yes.
Because we are very, very unique. And my feelings are that, if we can get our name out there, we are, by possibly doing this podcast, not only can we help the animals by possibly providing some support for their owners, but we can also possibly get more volunteers and people interested. And you don't necessarily even have to foster to be a volunteer for us. We need people to make calls and that sort of thing. We have 300 volunteers about.
Yay.
Yes. And we need more. We need fosters. We need people that will just do references. We need people that will help with
social media
and vetting, and there's so many things.
Fundraising.
Fundraising, and there's so many things that you could become involved in other than fostering. So one of the purposes of this is to get our word out, and we also can use donations. So once you hear all the wonderful things that we do with with our rescue, hopefully you will consider some donations and or giving some time.
Okay, so how many dogs do we currently have in foster?
In foster?
Yes, estimate.
Oh gosh, probably 100.
Because I know we just had a couple litters of
But
puppies.
we have also a courtesy post program, so we have maybe almost 200 under our umbrella.
So we have 200 pets underneath our umbrella. We have 15 cats, 5 guinea pigs, 1 rabbit,
Ooh.
and then the rest are all dogs.
Anybody likes critters?
Yep, and that's the cool thing that's unique, I would say, or not completely unique, but pretty unique, is we are not just a dog rescue or a cat rescue or a critter rescue. We are an all species.
If you get the call, you're rescuing.
I mean, we've handled, things that, I had a wolf in my backseat for a very brief wolf hybrid that's no longer in the state, or is in a sanctuary, I should say. But it was in my backseat. We've kind of dealt with all of it, which has led us to the point of being so large that another big thing that we wanted to announce with this podcast was something super cool that happened this past fall.
Right.
And Terri, I will kind of let you talk about it.
All right, I can do that. So we have grown so big, and I just want to mention a couple of the other things that we do as a rescue. We mentioned the pet pantry. We also have a parvo project where we are the rescue that certain humane societies reach out to if they have an animal, a dog that has parvo. We will take that animal, we will get it vetted, and we will find it a home. We are the only rescue that actually works hand in hand with some of these shelters and humane societies to do that.
And don't you guys have access to that new parvo drug?
We do. We were actually the monoclonal. We were actually the first people in Nebraska that had the monoclonal, which is supposed to be the parvo cure. So we do have access to that, and we are willing to sell it or share it or whatever if there is a
Are they having good results with that?
Yes.
Just out of curiosity.
Yes,
okay,
they
great.
really are. There's some things that have been learned. There is an allergic reaction that they could have to it, which kind of sets everything back
a little bit.
But it doesn't stop the symptoms. The symptoms actually have to play out, but it actually stops the progression of the disease. So if that disease has impacted your colon and your digestive tract, whatever, that still needs to play out and heal. Your body needs to heal that, but it will not be replicating the parvo disease.
Awesome.
Okay, so we have that. We have the vaccination clinic, which we touched on briefly. That is a free clinic that we do monthly. Distemper parvo shots are given free of charge. We are actually going to be expanding that. Do you want to mention that?
Yeah. So it started getting thrown around recently in the news. There's the mystery respiratory virus that's been going around. And thank goodness there hasn't really been much of it near us. But we realized that this is something that is still very life-threatening and very scary to owners. And so it got tossed around, and the decision was made that starting this month, January of 2024, we will be adding the intranasal Bordetella vaccination, which covers 3 different illnesses, diseases, just like the parvo distemper vaccine covers 4, and has been proven or shown to be the best protection against this. It does not fully protect your pet from it, but it protects them from a lot of what we're seeing is the secondary diseases coming in, parainfluenza, pneumonia, just some of these other things. So we will now be offering parvo distemper and Bordetella shots.
Right.
At the vaccination clinic?
Absolutely. Positively, absolutely free.
That's
no
awesome.
questions asked.
No, nothing.
And I'll tell you, Bordetella, you really need a Bordetella. If you take your dog anywhere, I don't care if it's to get a Puppuccino, if it's to PetSmart, Petco, your dog, if it is out with other dogs, you need a Bordetella.
Absolutely.
So this is huge. This is amazing.
If your dog is...
And free.
If you are.
Right.
If you're meeting other dogs, so many people just think like, oh, my dog stays at home. Like my dogs.
Right.
They're not huge social butterflies, so they don't go everywhere with me, and half of them hate the car. And so they don't go everywhere with me, but I work in a vet clinic.
Yes.
I see these illnesses. I'm around these.
They're on your shoes, they're on your hands,
We
they're on
can
your
bring
clothes.
these home with us.
Yeah.
So it's something that is very very positive, and it's free.
Yes.
I mean, it's a free
it is the
vaccination.
best way that we know of to help prevent the spread of that mystery disease.
So, and even more so, for our Omaha folks, Omaha last month in December was hit hard with kennel cough. It was everywhere. There were shelters that were having breakouts. There were doggy daycares that were having
Yeah.
breakouts. There
Yeah.
were boarding facilities
Yeah,
having
that's
breakouts. Just about everywhere I turned, when I would look in or talk to a friend or talk to another volunteer, I got an alert from my doggy daycare that there's a kennel cough breakout.
Right.
And that's the protection. Bordetella is the protection against kennel cough.
Right.
But it's just like the flu shot. It doesn't mean they're not going to get it. There's many different strains, there's many different variants of it, but it protects them and it gives us the best protection, just like we would give our kids the flu shot to protect them. And the best part, there's no needle.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
It is half a mil of fluid going in their nose.
Which my dog does not like, but
No,
we
mine
do it.
neither.
We do it anyway.
So just a couple of the other things that we do for their community outreach. We do have an owner assist program where we can actually help owners with vetting assistance. And we also have put together just recently what we call a rescue posse. And that is because we are getting calls at all times of the day or night to come and help with some of the oddest situations. And so we have a group of crazy people that are volunteers that go out and try to actually figure out how to save these animals. We have been involved in flood rescues. We have been involved in clamps stuck on paws that could not be, taken care of.
Wolves in the middle of a field.
In the middle of the field.
The dog that was in the ravine not too long ago down there in Nebraska.
Well, yeah. So anyway,
That's awesome.
We actually have a group of people that have a lot of different ideas and skills, and
Some of us just have zero fear of being hurt.
and we will go and try to help these animals that actually you just don't know what to do with them. You don't know how to
That's
help.
above and beyond rescue, which is
cat
awesome.
in an HVAC, event and
Cats under houses. There's
little
a
baby
lot.
raccoons that were orphaned up in
Yep.
trees, and
Oh, I
so
love
anyway,
baby
but
raccoons.
we are definitely the last person to call in those situations. Call the people that you would think of,
Right.
but
Do
as
the chain
a
of command.
last case,
You've got your animal control.
right,
You've got the
right,
police.
The fire department.
right.
Yes.
But
But if nobody else can help, we will certainly do
our
our
best.
So
That's rescue.
We are the crazy people.
and we are
So-
entertaining while we do it.
But the news that you guys were referring to
Yes.
is that because we have grown so big and we have so many community-based projects and programs in addition to the regular rescue, rehoming and rehabilitating, that we have actually split Muddy Paws Second Chance Rescue into 2 rescues. So we have the Muddy Paws Second Chance Rescue and a new rescue called Muddy Paws Last Chance Rescue.
Awesome.
So the Last Chance Rescue will be actually the traditional rehoming of pets, and the Second Chance will take over these the pet pantry, the clinics, the owner assist, so that we can provide more focus to each particular strain of rescue, basically.
Right. Yep. Well, I think it's important that you guys are doing that because you have grown so big, and just even having 300 volunteers, you guys get stuff done. It's amazing. I'm happy to be part of the rescue. I'm glad that I joined and that you guys
We are
accepted
too.
me.
Thank you so much.
It's been fun so far. So,
Just wait.
but we know that with rescue, it's not always about the fun and everything. There is hurt and heartache, and
There is.
but that's what we sign up for, and that's what we love to do it, and that's why we're here.
100%. When it first got brought up, I was trying to figure it out in my head. I'm a very visual person. Thanks a lot.
Nobody likes change,
And nobody likes change. And we got
especially
talking.
men.
Gosh, you would think I work and volunteer in a very woman-dominated field. But
We're
no,
two Terrys,
I know I am. But
alphas.
I got to. Lord help me. But no, it was very difficult. And then we were sitting at a meeting with just a group of our volunteers discussing this, outlining it, figuring out how are we going to execute this. And as we got talking about it, I started to doodle on my piece of paper and how I best figured it out in my head, because I'm like, well, if I'm in the public, how am I going to be able to figure out what is what? So Muddy Paws Second Chance Rescue is providing second chances in a home. By our community outreach, we are giving that family a second chance in the home, whether it's providing food and supplies while they are down on their luck, assisting in that life-saving medical care with our owner assistants, whether it's getting training out there because a behavior came up or just got to its boiling point. So we're providing that second chance. Versus rescues, how I picture rescue is that last line of defense for a dog. We are their final ground. It is the end right there. And so by giving them that last chance to rehabilitate them, to work through behavior, to work through medical. Why is this dog so sick? Does it have diabetes? Does it have Addison's? What is it? Does it have parvo, and are we fighting for its life? We're giving that last chance to live a happy and long life. And what I love about it most is I know some people, they're in it, everybody's in it for the animals, but they're like, I want to foster, I want to be that second home. And so last chance kind of gets to be your niche, and you're like, oh, cool. And then there's those people who are like, oh gosh, I wish I could foster, but my husband won't let me, or my wife won't let me, or my dogs won't let me.
I got 42 dogs.
My landlord
My
won't let me,
landlord won't
or
let me.
Yeah.
You know,
my
whatever the
therapist
case.
won't let me.
And you get a new therapist, jeez. But whatever the case may be, second chance provides you that chance of, you're kind of able to almost block out that I need to foster and be able to, I'm able to help.
Right.
And obviously we need just general volunteers on either side, but it truly creates that last chance, second chance mentality. And I think in a way, when the name got made and we became Last Chance as well, it wasn't on purpose. There was none of this pre-planning of like this idea sparked in one person's
Now, see,
head.
you just explained it great, so I don't know why you were afraid of change and afraid to go forward with
That
it.
was after like
It was
40.
a-
That was 45 minutes into the
Well,
meeting.
well,
That was after a full-blown
good thing
anxiety
you-
attack, and I'm over here writing on this.
It was a good thing
How
you were doodling.
do I do this, Terri? I quit.
So I guess the bottom line is, nobody needs to worry about the changes. It's going to, some of the changes have already been made, and it's just going to continue. We're going to very much partner with the two rescues are actually going to be sister rescues, and very supportive of each other, but just kind of have a different set of goals.
I think it'll be more efficient that way.
I do too.
I really do,
do.
because I think
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people that are fostering now, and they would like to do some of these things. But gosh, fostering, God bless them. I mean, I wish I could do it. I just can't
Yeah.
with my work schedule and everything. Sorry, I'm not making excuses, but I would love to do it, but I just can't. So I'm able to help out in these ways,
Right.
which makes me feel good because I'm doing
Absolutely.
something for your rescue.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
It's very much so. Two rescues, one mission.
Yep.
Exactly.
Save animals, save
Yeah.
lives, and if we have fun while doing it,
Yeah.
that's a great time.
That's right. So we're almost at an hour.
Yeah.
oh boy, wow, we talk a lot.
Well, with that one right there, and then the one on the other side of her,
So do we have any way to wrap this up? Do you have any great training
we
tip?
actually.
Just another plug. Tell people how they can get a hold of you for training.
Oh, God, man. Okay.
So my name's Julie. You can text me at 402-981-3136.
Text only.
Yes.
All right.
text,
Any
text,
other
text.
things?
On just
Insights.
remember, if you're ever looking for help, you can reach out to Muddy Paws Rescues. Our website and contact information are popping up on your screen right now. We are always here to assist. There is no question that is too small, no issue that is too large. We will brainstorm and assist you in whatever way we can possibly help you with.
And check out our Facebook page, catch us on TikTok, Instagram. And we just want to remind you guys, shelters are full and rescues are exhausted. Please spay and neuter your pets. Thank you for
Absolutely.
tuning in tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.